Welcome, everybody. See, everyone's starting to come in. We got a bunch of people to log in, so it's going to take a minute or two. If anybody could please just, I put a little note in the chat room. If you could just confirm you can hear and see me okay, it'd be appreciated. That way I just know everything's working right. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Carrie and Mary Jane. Appreciate it. Linda, thank you. Looks like we're good to go then. So we just got to wait a little bit, just a minute or two, because we got a large group of people, and so far we only have about 20% of them logged in. So let's just give it a minute or two for everybody to jump in here. Then we'll get started. Awesome. Thanks, Janet. Thanks, Barb. Thanks, Rayanne. And Scott. Don't want to miss anybody. Two. A little bit more to go. We're up to 43 people logged in, so I say another 2 minutes and we'll get started. I just want to give as many people as a chance. We're still missing over 100. John asked, is the recording going to be available? The answer is yes. We always record all these webinars and post them on our website in our webinar section. We make them available to anybody for a week, for 7 days. And then after 7 days, all of our webinars that we've done, we've now up to our, I think, our 52nd one. We've been up for about a year. Are available on replay to all of our members if you're a member of the site. But even if you're not a member, you can watch this webinar for a week on replay. And tonight I'll send you a link once that's posted. Hi, Terry. Okay, so let's see where we are in our numbers. Still missing about 100 people, so I'm just going to give another minute or so, and then I got to respect everyone who's here on time, so we'll get started in about a minute or so. But just trying to give as many people as chance as possible to get in here. Let's see, several familiar names, so hope everyone's doing well. Okay, so how are we doing? Picked up a couple more, but as soon as we hit that 5-minute mark on my clock, I'm going to get rolling. So we got about 45 seconds and we'll get started. But still missing about 100 people. It's kind of crazy. Okay. Okay, we've hit that 5-minute mark, so I want to welcome everyone to the webinar. My name is Craig Grant. I'm the CEO of RETI. I want to thank you for signing up and attending this All the Best Apps for Real Estate webinar. Before we get really started into the actual material, just want to kind of introduce myself. I do recognize a lot of the names in the chat room and the registered, that a lot of my students, so love seeing a lot of my students on here, but I'm sure there are some who aren't my students that might be fans of some of the other members of our RETI team or might have found out about these webinars through your association. So let me just kind of quickly tell you a little bit about myself. In addition to being the CEO of RETI, which we'll talk a little bit more about that later, I am a national instructor on all aspects of technology. I have about 150 to 200 speaking engagements around the country each year, and I really do cover just about every aspect of tech. In fact, I have over 40 classes I teach, but there's no question one of the topics I'm most passionate about is how realtors can really leverage mobile and leverage the cloud and paperless and apps to really do their job just as efficiently out of the office as they are in the office. So that's what this session's all about. Is we're going to really help show you all the best apps you can use in your business. And by the way, I'm big in giving extra perks. One of the first extra perk you're going to get is it was marketed as the 20 best apps of real estate, but if anyone knows me, they know I can't limit myself to 20, so you're actually gonna get about 40 in this session. So in the next 45 minutes, I'm gonna show you some amazing apps that I guarantee you is gonna help save you time, money, make you much more efficient doing your job. And not just doing your job, but also servicing today's consumer. Today's client is very different than the client before, and it's a lot about being able to do your job from anywhere, anytime, and do cool stuff with them. And as a side note, we don't have enough time in this session to fully go into teaching you how to show you how to use every single app. I'm going to describe every app and tell you what it does and why it would work for you. But if you stick around to the end of the session, I'm not only going to give you a link to download this class, the slides and everything, but I'm also going to give you some additional perks to help you learn not just about the apps we're going to show you in this session, but also way more technology as well. We're going to give you several perks at the end. So hopefully you stick around. And just a little request, if any of you guys are, have email open, checking Facebook or whatever, just kind of, if you could, log out of that stuff for the next 45 minutes, because trust me, you're not going to want to miss this stuff. We're going to give you a lot of great tools. So let me just kind of start before we get into the session by saying when Apple launched the original iPhone back in 2007, in fact, a week ago was the 10th anniversary when they demoed the first iPhone. So we're really at a decade of mobile devices. And their original slogan, "There's an app for that," was an incredible marketing slogan back 10 years ago. But now it's kind of a joke. If you really think about the amount of apps we have now compared to back then, it's amazing. So I guarantee you there's not enough time in the day or money in your pocket for you to go out and test all this stuff. And that's where I come in, not just me, but also the other members of my RETI team. We try to test out every single app and tool we can get our hands on in the real estate industry. And that way we're going to make it easier for you to figure out what are the best ones you should use. So with that being said, let me kind of jump into the session. I'm going to kind of take myself off camera and go into my slide deck so we can show you what are the best tools you should use for real estate. Okay, so again, here's the session we're going to do on all the best apps for real estate. So before I get into the really cool apps, anytime I teach apps, I start with two what I call my sneaky tricks or workarounds. And the reason I always teach these two tricks is a lot of times when you're out in the field and you have, let's say, trying to use a mobile device to do anything, you run into some obstacles. So these tricks are going to help you really beat any problem you encounter out in the field. So the first one is having a second browser on your device. In other words, if you have an Apple device, an iPhone or an iPad, it's going to come with Safari as the browser. If you have Android, it comes with web browser. And even in desktop Safari, a lot of websites don't work. Mobile Safari, tons of websites don't work properly. And I'm talking about when you try to pull up a website and it's tiny and it doesn't really click right or anything like that. Android, same story. A lot of websites don't work in their browser. So the first trick we're going to show you is you got to download a second browser from your app stores, Mercury Pro over on the Apple side, and Firefox on the Android side. Then you have to go into Firefox settings and add in something called Phony, P-H-O-N-Y. And what this allows you to do is, let's say you try to pull up a website. Let's say probably the worst ones at this are government websites like property appraiser sites. A lot of times they're outdated, haven't been updated in a long time. So let's say you try to pull up that website in Safari on an iPhone, it's not working. You would instead try the exact same website in Mercury Pro, then you click on the little menu button at the bottom, and then you click on User Agent from the menu screen. And then you're going to see a whole list of desktop browsers you can choose from. And let's just say, on a normal computer, your browser works just, or that website works just fine in Explorer version 6 or 7 or 8. You can select those from the list. It then tries to refresh the website, tricking it into thinking it's in Internet Explorer 8 or 9 or whatever one you chose. So this is a first workaround. It won't work on every single website, but it will help you make some websites that are currently only working on your mobile devices start working. So again, this is just having a second browser that allows you to try to trick websites into thinking they're in a different browser. That's our first trick. The second trick or workaround will literally beat any problem you'll ever encounter out in the field. So let's just say this trick didn't work and you can't get that property appraiser's website to work. Or it could be a situation where, I don't know, you want to use your whole MLS, not the little MLS app, so you can have all the features. Or a site is built on Flash. Or I always joke and say it could be literally a situation where it saves your butt. Let's say you go away on a vacation, you're having a nice time on your vacation, and God forbid you're dumb enough to check your voicemail while you're away on your vacation. And you hear on your voicemail an angry customer that can't believe you had the gall to go away because they think their deal is going to fall through because you didn't do something. Now, if you don't have my next trick in place, your vacation is definitely ruined. Either you're trying to get someone back home to kind of cover for you and, kind of go fix something at the office, or you might even think about booking that flight home early. But if you have trick number 2 set up, it's really no big deal, because all you got to do is you launch a program called TeamViewer. Now, TeamViewer is what's called remote login software. So in other words, you're going to be able to install TeamViewer onto 10 computers just by going to teamviewer.com and installing it onto a computer. Then you put the app on your mobile devices. And then from that point on, anytime you want to connect to one of the computers you've installed this on, you just click on the app on your mobile device. It then allows you to log on to one of those computers you've installed it on. And now you'll be able to really post or connect and use that computer like you're sitting right there. But you're not there. You could be still on your vacation, but you're using your little phone or tablet screen, the app in it, as remote control of that computer back home. So if you want to fire up the entire MLS, if you want to run a website in the browser that has Flash, you'll be able to do it. Okay. So TeamViewer allows you to really control an entire computer anytime you need it to. And the key is all you need is an internet connection, or that computer that you're trying to connect to has to be connected to the internet, and it also has to have a power on. I mean, it could be asleep, the laptop could have its lid closed, even the monitor could be turned off. As long as it's connected to the internet and has power, you'll be able to connect to that computer and run it like you're sitting right there in your office. Okay, so I see a couple of people commenting in there. One person asked about an add-on. Now a couple people are saying they've lost me. Are you guys not able to hear? Let's try to find out what's going on. Let's stop the screen share. Okay, can you guys hear me now? Hello? Can anybody? But no audio. Okay, so let's try to change something real fast. Give me 1 second. Are you guys hearing now? Are those a yeses? Everything's good again? Okay, awesome. All right, so now let's try to go back to the presentation and see if we can get that to work again. Not sure what happened, guys. I apologize. Okay, can anybody please confirm that you can still see and hear still now that I'm back on the slides? Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. That's what I love about you guys being able to communicate with me so we know everything's good. All right, so those are our 2 little sneaky tricks. Trick 1 was having the second browser. Step 2, somebody's asking, can we start over with TeamViewer? Sure, not a problem, because I guess you guys might have missed some of that. So what TeamViewer is, it's called remote login software. You can install this onto 10 computers for free, and anytime you need to, yep, I'm going through TeamViewer again, Jackie, no problems. Okay, So anytime you need to, you could just use an app on your mobile device, connect to a computer back home or at your office, and have full remote control over that entire computer. So in other words, you can fire up the entire MLS and use the MLS. You could, open a program and print to the printer in that room. As long as you have an internet connection and power running into the computer, you can connect to it anytime. Even if the laptop is closed and the screen is turned off, as long as it has power and internet, that's all that matters, and you can do anything you need doing TeamViewer on an actual computer. So those are our two little sneaky tricks. We've got the browser in trick 1, and then we have remote login with TeamViewer in trick 2. If you have those two tricks, you're able to really do anything you need on a mobile device, because if trick number 1 doesn't work, a computer can do anything. And Darlene just asked, does the computer back home need to be turned on? The answer is yes. It needs to have power and internet, but it does not have to be like running. It could be asleep. The laptop could have its lid closed, anything like that. As long as it has power and internet, you'll be able to wake it up out of its sleep and be able to connect and work on it. Okay, so that's why those two tricks are so handy, is you can get anything done on a real computer if you ever need to. So now let's get into some actual just cool apps that you could use. And the first category is going to be kind of organization apps that you could use. And any person in any business could use these. Later, I'm going to give you some real estate specific ones. These definitely help for real estate, but if you have, spouses or anybody in other businesses, these definitely work for that as well. So the first one is called Remember the Milk. So what Remember the Milk is, it's like a personal to-do list or task list. So if you want to create your to-do list, what you're going to do each day, if you want to create shopping list of grocery list or whatever before you go out shopping, if you want to create automated task lists to work with your customers. So it is great because not only is this like a to-do list for yourself, but you can share and collaborate with these lists with other people. So maybe you want to have you and your spouse get it, or your teammates at work, or share this with your customers, have them get the app on their device also. And now you can share the task going on in their transaction between the two of you, stuff like that. So Remember the Milk is free and is great because you can only have your own personal list, but share them with other people. The next one is Evernote. And Evernote is an amazing program. It's used by people, millions of people all over the world for so many things. And if you don't know what Evernote is, I always describe it. It's not just an app. You can also install this as a program on your computer and everything else. But I always describe it as it's like having your computer running out on the internet. So, because what are the main things you do on a computer? You create folders, you put files into those folders, you take notes, you record audio, you can forward in emails and files into them. So it's really like having a computer just running out there that you can connect to from any device. So Evernote's a great program. We don't have enough time to really dig into it in this session, but it is a great app to have on your mobile device. We do have tons of Evernote videos on our RETI site if you ever want to check that out. But here I'm just mentioning it is a great app to have on mobile. Next one is called Expensify. And Expensify is, first of all, if any of you guys have ever done online banking, it's similar to online banking. But instead of you having to log into several different accounts to see all your spending, Expensify will tie into all your bank accounts, credit card accounts, store loyalty cards, and pull them into one continuous feed. Now you have one place to go to really track all your spending. It also creates what's called an or digital receipt for every transaction. So now if you want to, you can throw away all your little receipts. You don't have to keep them. For anything over, and by the way, the IRS will accept an e-receipt for anything under $75. Anything over $75, or maybe something you want a record of, just open up the app on your mobile device, take a picture of that receipt, and then throw away your bigger receipts. So now you have all your expenses and all your receipts in one place. And if you want to use this for mileage, you can either hand type in mileage or you can do GPS tracking. It'll track how far you're driving as you drive. So we have all your expenses, all your receipts, and all your mileage in one tool for free. Okay, so Expensify is great. And for a typical realtor, it's totally free because it ties into, basically it's free because the only way this becomes a paid program is if you want to invoice and collect payments from people. And this does have where you can export out information to help you with your tax preparation, stuff like that. So Expensify is awesome, okay? Now I'm gonna give you a second option that's kind of similar, but different at the same time, called TaxBot. So TaxBot is a paid program. It's either $9.99 a month or $99 a year. And it does a lot of the same stuff that Expensify did of expense tracking and receipts and mileage and all that kind of stuff. But a TaxBot takes it a step further, where it even gives you the actual tax preparation documentation you need to do your taxes. So it kicks out the legal documents and everything you need if you're doing your own taxes or to provide to an accountant to really get your taxes done properly. Plus, they have a ton of educational information in there about how to really run a business and do it for taxes. And they have a huge focus on real estate. They really understand how realtors function in the road and how we run our businesses as independents and everything else. So TaxBot is a paid program, but it definitely helps you more on the tax side and the learn and just understanding all the tax breaks and everything else. Next one's Google Maps. And Google Maps, of course, is a great mapping and GPS system from Google. It's free. So it'll give you voice turn-by-turn directions and traffic updates and everything else. So Google Maps is awesome. I would definitely recommend it. But they actually have an even better app for mapping called Waze. And I'm not sure how many of you guys use Waze, but Waze is incredible. And what I meant by they have it, this is owned and run by Google as well. But Waze is not only a GPS that'll give you the voice turn-by-turn directions, but it also ties into so much information. Everyone using Waze can give automatic, like on-time updates. You'll know they'll warn you, is there a cop ahead? They'll warn you if traffic is slowing down and redirect you to a different path, much better than any other app. It'll warn you if there's just cars on the side of the road. It's amazing how much information you get. And another really cool feature in Waze that definitely applies to real estate is the send ETA function. So let's say you're on your way to, yes, I see Carrie saying I eat, sleep, and breathe Waze. Okay, it's amazing. So let's say you're on your way to meet up with a customer and you get caught in some traffic. You click on the send ETA and just send them a fast text message. And then you can tell them, you don't have to type anything in. You just type in their number, who you want to text this to, and then it'll let them know you're going to expect it to be at them by 3:28, which is 15 minutes later than you thought. So the send ETA is a great feature to have out in the field as well. Next one's the Yellow Pages, and I just threw it in here because every realtor really needs to have a business directory on their mobile device at all times to tell your customers local business, stuff like that. So if you just want straight up Yellow Pages, you can get this one. I personally am more of a fan of Yelp because Yelp has so many customer reviews in it, it's better, especially if somebody's trying to get acquainted to the area. They can actually get feedback from people that live there of what are the best restaurants, who's the best handyman, and all that kind of stuff. So smart to have on your device. And another one that's just, nobody knows about this one, but it's a hidden gem. It's a huge time saver. It's called Fast Customer. And what Fast Customer is, I'm sure a lot of you guys on this webinar hate being on hold, right? So they have a directory of just about every toll-free number out there, like all the major companies. So let's say you're wanting to call American Express. You go into Fast Customer, you select American Express, and you'll actually get to choose which department you want to call in there. Is it billing? Is it customer service, support, etc.? So let's say you choose the billing department. Basically, Fast Customer will tell you, okay, hang up. We'll call you when you're the first person in line. So you don't have to sit there waiting on hold for 30 minutes. Your phone will actually ring. You'll pick up your phone, and you'll be ready to talk to somebody at American Express in the billing department pretty much right after you pick up that call. So Fast Customer is a great app for time saving. All right, next category is social media, which of course is a big part of the business these days. So the first one we're going to show you is called Hootsuite. And Hootsuite's also a website you could use on your regular computers as well. But what Hootsuite is one dashboard to run your whole social media life out of one place. Now, if you're just using one social media site, you don't need Hootsuite. But if you're doing multiple sites, it can be kind of tough staying on top of each site, checking each one separately, posting each one separately, stuff like that. Hootsuite allows you to create one dashboard for all your social media accounts in one place. Not only can you check them all in one place, you can even create a post and say, I want to send this one to my Facebook business, but not the personal, to LinkedIn, to Google+, and I don't know, Twitter, and you can schedule it, go out at certain dates and times. So you can now manage and run all your social media accounts out of one place. So Hootsuite's fantastic use. And the great part about the mobile is one of the best parts of social media is spontaneity. Things just happen, maybe a pretty sunset or whatever. Now you'll have one tool to go into to post that pretty picture out to 20 places at once if you need to. And then when it comes to just staying on top of the news, getting social media content or topics you're going to talk about, Flipboard is incredible. It's kind of like your own personal news aggregating tool. So they already have normal news categories for business, sports, entertainment, stuff like that. But you can also create your own personal magazine. So if you want to create a magazine for your own town, maybe the city of Chicago, maybe you want to create one for the Chicago Bulls, you want to create another one for real estate, Flipboard will find you every story and information on the internet every single day on just the topics you're interested in. Okay, so it makes finding information so easy, or just kind of coming up with ideas what you want to go write about on social media or blogging. And of course, you can share any article straight from Flipboard right out to your social media profiles as well. So Flipboard is great. And then another one you might want to check out for social media is called Houzz, H-O-U-Z-Z. So Houzz, I always say, is kind of like a realtor's dream for social media imagery. I'm sure there's realtors in your town that every day are posting pictures of amazing properties and gorgeous kitchens and amazing landscape and everything like that. And you're like, I don't know. I know they're not getting all these pictures from this market. They're not. They're probably getting them from Houzz. So you can go into Houzz and they have millions of pictures of kitchens, millions of pictures of, architecture and furniture and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, their goal is to get you to share that picture out to social media so they can get the traffic coming back. So you can shop through the site. You can get pictures through internet. I mean, it's just a great tool to use if you're really into the imagery of real estate. All right, next category is office and communication. So here, you got to be able to do your job from anywhere. So first of all, what about actual Office? If your whole deal is I need actual Microsoft Office on my mobile devices, you can get what's called Office 365, which is Microsoft Office for mobile devices and on the internet. So if you have a Microsoft mobile device, which not many people do, it comes with it. But if you're on Apple or Android, you can add it for $5 a month. Okay. Or if you're an Apple user, Apple has its own suite of programs. Pages is just like Word, Numbers is just like Excel, and Keynote's just like PowerPoint. They're just Apple's programs. And they come for free on Apple computers, but you have to buy them for $10 per app for mobile. Okay, so for $30, you could have the whole Apple suite on your mobile devices. The other option is, and this is the one I typically recommend, Google has its own suite of Office programs. Again, Docs is like Word, Sheets is like Excel, Slides is like PowerPoint. In fact, this presentation here was done on Slides. And now you're not worried about having two different programs. Docs will work on the internet, it'll work on a mobile device, any computer. So it's free, and you can use it on any device, and syncing is never an issue. It just ties into your Google account. So that's another option, is just use Google Docs instead of Microsoft Office on any device. And again, the other part with Google is, with Google Drive, their file storage, it ties into that whole Google Docs programs. So it really makes it where they're not just files sitting in folders. You can create and edit your documents, not just like, store them in a folder like with Dropbox. The integration of Google Docs with Google Drive makes it a really powerful combination to do your business mobilely. Another cool app is called Sketch. Sketch allows you to draw right on top of a picture or a document. So maybe you're doing a final walkthrough of a property and there's damage to the carpet. You can take a picture and circle the damage for documentation. Or maybe somebody sends you a contract, you want to quickly mark it up and send it right back to them. So Sketch would allow you to do that and then send the person back a flattened file. Next one is called Genius Scan. It's only $1. It basically turns your mobile device's camera into a scanner. So if you just took, let's say I signed a 5-page contract with 3 pages of addendums, you could take 8 pictures, combine them all into one document in Genius Scan, and then either store it on your device or email it, Wi-Fi beam it to the person next to you, upload it to the cloud, whatever you want to do. So Genius Scan is kind of like a digital scanner built into the device using the camera. The next one for Office is just straight up communication. Okay, so the newer communication tools like Google Hangouts, Skype, WhatsApp, they allow you to not only call somebody, but text message them, call them, video call them, chat with them, all in the same tool. So you don't have to click on 5 different buttons on your phone to communicate with people. And the two biggies in America are Google Hangouts and Skype. WhatsApp is growing like crazy around the world. It's now over 1.5 billion users. And as long as you're on a Wi-Fi connection, you can even video call someone for free anywhere in the world. Even group video call if you want to do an open house and kind of stream it through WhatsApp. You can even do file transfer. Maybe you just took a huge video file and want to send it to your customer over in Asia. You can do that for free using WhatsApp as long as you're on a Wi-Fi connection. So these tools, again, are great for communication on any device. All right, next category is photo and video. And we know this business runs on imagery. So first thing is there's a great app called Camera Plus. It's only $1. And what it does is it completely is better than the camera that comes in your device. So you don't have to get a new camera, of course. It's just an app that goes on there. But it adds so many more settings to the camera for low lighting and glare in the windows and burst if you're doing action photos or anything like that. It just really gives you the ability to take much better pictures than the normal camera in your device. Another part of taking great pictures, especially exterior pictures, is you got to know about the weather. Dark sky is incredible. So with dark sky, it's $3 to buy it. It'll tell you at that address you're at, exactly 17 minutes from now, it's going to rain. So if you're trying to squeeze in pictures, or you could even type in an address and say, is it going to rain there today? Dark sky would help you know, okay, we got to get this done or it's not going to happen today. And then an even cooler one when it comes to knowing about the weather is called Sunseeker. So this one's a little bit expensive, $7.49 to buy it, but it'll tell you, and you can type in an address and say, at that address, what are the exact time today I should be there for the best sunlight and exposure? So it'll tell you at 11:30 you need to be at that address to be, get the best sun. It's amazing what you can see just, using this app to know when is the exact right time to be there for pictures. And then when it comes to video, Apple has its own software called iMovie. It comes for free on Apple computers, but on Apple mobile devices, you have to buy it for $4.99. So if you're an Apple user, an iPhone or an iPad user, iMovie is great to get. Okay. If you're not an Apple user, WeVideo can work on any device and also on the internet as well. You can just be on a computer and use WeVideo. It is, in my opinion, the best video editing software there is for $59 a year. Okay, so that you can create any kind of video. I do have iMovie. I typically use WeVideo instead. I just think I can make better video in half the time using WeVideo. And then similar to how I gave you Camera Plus over on for taking better pictures, there's also a app called Pro HDR, which will help you on the taking better video. Because if you think about it, your video camera in your device doesn't have many settings at all. It really is just, zoom in and out, and that's about it. Pro HDR will give you a lot more settings for lighting and different situations you might be in taking better video. All right, third category, or next category, we're way past 3, my bad, is now we're gonna get into straight up real estate apps. So we're definitely not gonna talk about, all right, use Realtor.com for searching for properties or Zillow. Whatever app you wanna use for property searching, that's totally up to you, okay? What I'm gonna give you is some apps you might not know about that are amazing for the real estate industry. So first one is RPR, which is a great free service as long as you're a member of NAR. This is only member only. The consumers don't have access to RPR, but you can use RPR's website or their mobile app to do amazing, CMAs, property reports, neighborhood reports, investor analysis. It's just amazing the amount of data, commercial property management you can do within RPR's device app. Okay, so that's definitely a smart one to have. And it's also great on a mobile device to do the presentation run in front of the customer, and then you can just share the presentation with them without having to print it out. So RPR is the first one. Next one is called HomeSnap. And HomeSnap is another app that's just amazing. On the customer side, they can use it for searching for properties and kind of looking at properties they're going to and everything. And you can use it with them while you're at a property, because as soon as they pull up a property, it gives a ton of information about a property. All the recent sales data about that area, from tax rolls, school information from great schools for the area, walking and lifestyle scores that on board. So you can use it almost like doing a neighborhood CMA on the fly. And then the other side of it is you can go in as a realtor and create your own account and kind of link it with them just by sharing, getting their email or phone number. And then you can also now chat with them and communicate with them about every property you're bringing to and send them recommendations of properties they might want to look at through the app. So it really becomes a great app to have for the realtor to communicate with their customer during that shopping process. Another one that's just more straightforward about helping that customer through the shopping process is AIM Open House. Great app. What AIM Open House does is every time you bring a customer to a new property, they just download the information, or they can type it in if it's not available in some markets. And now they can go through and make their own notes of what they think of every single property. They can also, take their own pictures and give it its score and everything. And now when you talk to a customer and say, hey, oh, I'm sorry, that's the second one. My bad. I screwed up the description of this one because they have two apps. This one, AIM Open House, is actually, instead of you having a piece of paper on the counter to sign in an open house, you're going to ask people, can you please sign the screen of my phone or my app in this app? And you're guaranteeing them a prize as soon as they do it. You can say, as soon as you sign in, it'll instantly send you a digital flyer about this property with all the information. And of course, your agent brand and contact information. In addition to that, not only is it a sign-in sheet, which will increase sign-ins, make them much more accurate and easy to read. I mean, how many times have you not been able to read a sign-in sheet? But the more important part is it starts building a contact database list of everyone signing into your properties. So now you have, and it also ties into an email marketing system. So now you have one system where you can go into and one click of a button send an email blast or whatever to every person that's come to your property. Maybe there's been a price reduction and you want to send out a blast to everyone. So it's not just a sign-in sheet, it's also a complete marketing system to follow up with everyone that comes as well. So that one's called AIM Open House. Great app. Now they have a second app called AIM Open House for Buyers. And I apologize, that's the one I started to describe a second ago. Okay, so this one is basically the shopping app for a customer. So every time you bring them to a property, they just download the information of that property. They go in to make their own notes, take their own pictures, and give it a score. And now they have one organized place to go to really evaluate and kind of review every property you've brought them to. And just like with HomeSnap, where you can go in as a realtor, create your own account, and communicate with your customer, same thing happens here, where you can now really see your customers' notes about a property and really know what's going on with them, when you bring them to these places. And let's just say you're working with a spouse team and one is with you and the other one hasn't relocated. They can actually share listings to somebody else, and the other person doesn't have to have the app. They would just get a link, an email with a link in it, and they can click and see all their spouse's notes and pictures and everything else. So AIM Open House for Buyers is great for your customers to have for the buying process and you to kind of communicate with them about it as well. Next one is called Go Connect for Real Estate. And this one is a great free app. It's basically your own personal task manager. In other words, what do you have to do today for all your customers? In real estate, it's really easy to screw up. You have so many phone calls you have to make on their behalf, contacting vendors and everything else, and turning in paperwork, and just really a lot of tasks, marketing and everything else. So Go Connect is extremely easy to use. You just go in, you select somebody from the contacts on your phone to create an account for them in Go Connect, and then just within a few swipes of your finger, that person's entire schedule for their, for marketing and their property is done. You'll now have their whole list, let's say, over 60-day close set up within just a couple flips of your finger. And you're not just doing this for one customer. You need to do this for all your customers, set them up in Go Connect. And the beautiful part is it kind of takes over the lock screen of your phone. So every time you turn on your phone, there's your to-do list for that day staring you in the face. You can't really ignore it. I mean, you can get rid of it by swiping it all away, but it's going to be there staring at you every time you turn on your phone. Here's what you need to do today so you don't screw something up. And if you want to complete a task, you swipe it left. If you want to postpone a task, you swipe it right and choose when you want to postpone it to. So Go Connect is a fabulous app to make sure you don't drop the ball. And then there's Magic Plan. Magic Plan is just one of those crazy blow your mind cool apps. So the only way to truly experience Magic Plan is to see it in action. So as this video rolls, oops, need to click it over here, my bad. So as this video rolls, I want you to kind of notice a couple things. One is that it definitely does not have, it's not a square boxy room that we're going to be showing you here. It's a very odd shaped room with a lot of nooks and crannies and corners. And then the other part is you also notice all the furniture is in its original location. So in other words, you don't have to move furniture at all to measure the room. So using Magic Plan, we can measure this room in under a minute. So all you need to do is, if you can see these little green grid lines, you got to use the app and kind of get it to line up with a corner, a point of a wall. And every time you drop a cone, you hit a button, it drops a cone, and it's doing another measurement. So again, the fact we're about to measure that corner through the piece of furniture doesn't matter. Okay, we can just kind of plot where the corner is through the piece of furniture. So again, using Magic Plan, we're going to be able to measure this very complex room in under a minute. It's pretty amazing what you can do with this. Let's just give it a few more seconds, and then you'll see once we finish this room. So now you're about to start seeing the little arrow bouncing. That was our first measurement. That's where we started the room. So once you get back to that arrow, that cone, we'll finish the room, and then you'll see what the next step of the process is. So there's the room we just measured. Okay. Now we just kind of select it like a piece of a puzzle and drag it into where it belongs in the property, the other rooms we've already measured. So we're not just doing one room with Magic Plan. You can do the entire layout, the entire floor plan. And if it sees that one opening opens up to another opening, it kind of knows it's a doorway. Okay, so Magic Plan is incredible for allowing you to do measurements and floor plans and everything else. Oops, did I miss one? Yep, sorry. All right, next one is Google Translate. And Google Translate, especially if you're working with an international client or somebody who English isn't their first language, is kind of a necessity. It's now close to 200 languages it translates. So great to have doing international. But the truth is, it's not just language that's a barrier to work international. It's different forms of measurements, different forms of currency and things like that. So if you download Converter Plus on Apple or ConvertPad on Android, it would give you all of those kind of conversion tools you need to work with international clients. So again, Converter Plus on Apple, ConvertPad on Android. And then if you just need a real estate calculator, and I know a lot of the mortgage companies are coming out with their own branded apps, and some of them are fantastic. I'm not going to in any way say no about that. The only thing is I am sponsored by a lot of those companies when I teach around the country. So these are just two non-branded mortgage apps that are really good for you to use for real estate calculators. So MidCalc over on the Apple side, Carl's Mortgage on the Android side. But if you're already using one from one of your vendors, then I'm in no way saying not to use that. And then next, we only got a couple more. We got Square. Square is both a little piece of hardware and a little piece of software. So that little white thing that plugs the earphone jack of a mobile device is a credit card swiping terminal. So this would allow you to take payments from customers and keep more of the money and have it in your account the same day. Square only takes 2.75% of a transaction and do deposits the same day, which is great, especially if you're in property management. And then you definitely, and I'm not saying Lookout is the only one you could use. If you have a good antivirus from your antivirus software on your computer, put the same thing on your mobile device. But the key is you need to be protecting your mobile devices as well if you're not. So Lookout is a free option if you need one for antivirus for your mobile. Also, if you're not doing it, Code of Ethics requires you to back up everything. And most realtors forget about backing up their text messages. So SMS backup and restore will allow you to back up your text messages. It'll just send you an email with an attachment of your text messages you can now back up to your computers. So that is a great one that a lot of people don't think about. LastPass is great for helping you remember your passwords and get into websites on your mobile devices. Okay, and then the last one is Be Safe. Just a letter B and the word safe. And what this is a great app to help you protect yourself physically out in the field. We know how dangerous real estate can be. So once you set up your guardians, which is like your list of emergency contact people, you can click a button and have a fake phone call. So maybe someone's in your property giving you a freaky feeling, hit the fake phone call, and your phone will ring and you have a fake discussion. That might make them leave. You can do a I'm here, a check in a location, letting all your guardians know you're here safely on time. Or you could even set a timer and say, if I don't turn it off in time, check on me, I might be in trouble. But the biggest feature of this app to protect yourself is that big red SOS button. I always say this should be open on your device's screen anytime you're in a potentially dangerous situation. Maybe you're entering or leaving a property. If you hit that button, a couple things will happen immediately. One, your phone will make alarm noises the loudest it can go. So hopefully that scares someone off. Second, both your front and back cameras take a picture of what's in front and back of you. Maybe that might make somebody go away, okay? And then third, all your guardians get a text message, help, I'm in trouble, with your exact location where you are. So Be Safe is a great app to use out in the field to protect yourself from potential dangers, not just in real estate, in life as well. All right, so that kind of gets us to the end of the slides of the apps. So let me just kind of ask you guys as a group, did I kind of deliver on my promise, showed you some great apps you've never seen before that might help you out in the field? You guys, if you think so, please let me know in the chat room. I'd just like to see if you guys liked what you saw there. And by the way, there's also a little poll over by the chat room of what was your favorite app that I showed today. I gave you a few options there. So if you guys would be willing to fill that out, I'd love to get some feedback on which ones really are the ones you guys like the most, okay? I see, thank you. Appreciate it, Nancy and James and Scott, Carrie. Love the fact that you guys like some of them. Okay, and again, if you guys have a chance, check out the little poll and fill that out. Okay, so now that we've gotten to the end of the slides, what I want to kind of show you now is I mentioned I have a couple extra perks that can help you guys really take this to the next level, because you can only do so much in a little webinar like this when I'm trying to blast through all those apps. Somebody just asked which was the one before Be Safe, and that was SMS backup and restore. Okay, so the major thing I want to show you when it comes to a great resource is the RETI website. And if you guys aren't aware of it, I'm the CEO of RETI, but my team with Alex Camilio, Warren Dow, Amy Smythe-Harris, Winnie McDowell, we all do this site together. And the idea is we have over 600 training videos on the site now for any technology topic you want. In fact, we just completed a redesign the other day where we completely reorganized the entire site to make it much easier for our customers to find anything they want to learn. So for example, if you go into the software section, this is just in the software section, the amount of video tutorials and articles we've built just in the software area. And then, you know, if you want CRM recommendations or learning about file storage or anything like that, we've got just tons of stuff in here. There's photo and video design. If you check out the marketing section, same deal. So we built it this way so it's very quick and easy for our members to learn anything they want anytime. So that's just in our learning library. Also with our webinars, every single Wednesday we do new webinars at 3 o'clock Eastern. So if, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to post this webinar to here later this evening, but you'll be able to check it out for a week if you're not a member. But our members also have access to over 50 webinars we've done over the past year on a lot of those topics as well. So you get access to so much stuff. We also have a tech guide where we try to review as many products and apps as we can and actually give them ratings and information about how to use them, stuff like that. So that is one thing. If you really are looking for help learning technology anytime you want, the RETI's website, reti.us website, there's nothing like in the industry, and it really helps you get to the next level. So if you go to the site, you'll immediately see where you can take a free test drive or sign up. If you were to click on the test drive, we built out a page that has about 25 videos you can watch for free just to kind of get a feel for the site. So anything on the test drive, any of you guys can go and watch them anytime. Those are non-member only, if it makes sense. Anybody can check out these videos, okay? If you are interested in joining, you would go to the sign up page. And to kind of give you an idea, we go to the sign up page. Right now, our current special, in fact, if you look at the promo in the webinar chat room, it's $4.95 for your first month, and that's $19.95 for future months. But I'm going to throw out another special offer for everyone on this webinar. If you do want to sign up and use the promo code RETI WEB, W-E-B, it'll make the first month only $1.99 or $19.95 after that. Or, and you don't need a promo code for this, you could just say I want to buy the whole year at once for $99.95 or $100, okay, which is a huge savings over doing it by the month. So that's one thing, is the RETI.us website is a great resource for you to learn anytime you want about anything, not just the stuff we did just now. And again, if you use that promo code, and I'll put it in the chat room, that would get that first month for $1.99, okay? The other part, and again, I will be posting this webinar later. If you do want to check that out, it'll be at here. Okay. On the webinars page, you'll see it later. And if you were to sign up, there. All right, so what I'm going to do now is, I did see a lot of you guys kind of putting in apps that you loved and everything like that. I'm going to kind of take off the screen share, bring it back to me on screen, and just see if there's any questions I wasn't able to hit as I was talking there. But I think hopefully you guys agree that we kind of gave you a lot today. And we do this every single week, trying to help you guys as much with technology as we can. So let me kind of peruse the chat room and see if there's any questions there that I might have missed. And if by chance I did miss anything, just, of course, repost them. Or if you guys have questions now, feel free to post them in the chat room. Okay, so somebody asked about the one before Be Safe. I'll put it in there. It's called SMS Backup and Restore. Somebody asked about home virtual tours or videos. If you're looking for just video editing in general, that's where I honestly do recommend WeVideo, which either the website wevideo.com or the WeVideo app. If you're just looking for photos, flipping into photos, that kind of a deal, I mean, there's tons of virtual tour companies that have their own tools for that. But to me, WeVideo, you can create, you know, if you want to do voiceover work or anything later, if you want to create interviews or any kind of style of video, in my opinion, WeVideo is the best for that. Okay, Sharon said she loves Magic Plan. Appreciate that. Nancy said she loved to Be Safe. Another one for Magic Plan. Scott said Skitch. Oh, Shelly said she's an app geek and had all but one or two. That's impressive. Not many people I run into have this many. Usually I'm able to find a few gems they don't have. So Steve asked, is there an app or a program that allows you to print an entire text conversation for your files? The app that I gave, SMS Backup and Restore, it would send you an email with an attachment of the text messages. You know, you can even say just the messages between me and client Mary Johnson between January 1st and today, send me an attachment with those messages. So that same app that backs up your text messages would allow you to do the same thing, okay? All right, so let me see if there's any new questions. Kathy asked, what was the add-on for Firefox that allows you to check out the browsers? It's called Phony, and I just put it in the chat room. It's P-H-O-N-Y. Mary Ann asked, are there any proprietary issues using pictures from Houzz? And the answer is, and they state this on their site, only for usage really on social media. So in other words, they want you to share that picture to Facebook, Pinterest, wherever you want to put it on social media, but you can't take a picture from Houzz and put it on a marketing flyer or use it as a picture on your website. That could get you in trouble, okay? So as long as you use it just on social media, that's really their intent, is to get the traffic coming back from there. Okay, somebody, Darlene asked, what is the best program to manage your Facebook? If it's just Facebook, the Facebook app, and Facebook actually has two apps. There's Facebook and Facebook Pages, okay? Pages is what you would use to manage your business page if you have one, and Facebook runs your personal life. So if all you're worried about is Facebook, you don't need something like Hootsuite that I showed you earlier. That would be if you have multiple accounts on multiple sites. But if it's just the one, then just the straight up Facebook and Facebook Pages apps would help you there. Okay. Shelly asks, what do you like to see used more, Google Docs and Google Drive or Word with OneDrive? In my personal opinion, and if anyone's been to my class before, they know this, I'm a huge supporter of the entire Google ecosystem. In my opinion, you could use them for free or just pay a couple dollars and get 24/7 support, but you get way more with the Google system than you get with Microsoft, and they work on everything. So I'm definitely a fan of the Google Drive, Google Docs tools together, especially if you add in a Google business account, which is called G Suite. You could really run your entire business, unlimited storage and everything for $10 a month with support. Okay. Ryan asked, can I use Tansy for text messages? I didn't talk about Tansy, and I'm not really 100% familiar with that. I mean, there's tons of tools for text messaging. It's just a question of what I threw in with SMS backup is, are you backing them up? And I mentioned ones like, Google Hangouts and Skype and WhatsApp just for communicating because they are used by so many people. If you're really looking for the most exposure, I wouldn't think Tansy would get you there because I've barely even heard of it. Oh, well, she's saying it saves them as PDFs. Okay, so I guess you were, Rayanne was throwing out an option maybe for the question earlier about how you can back up a text message. So she's saying Tansy allows you to save a text message as a PDF. So cool, thank you, Rayanne. All right, Mark asked, will these integrate well with brokerage CRMs and auto mailers? I'm not sure which tools you're talking about, but not many tools tie into a CRM. Some messages like lead sources might be able to forward into a CRM, but most of these tools aren't really tied to CRMs. And that's probably more of a question of which CRM you're using. Barbas said, I'm looking for your CRM. Is that information in your system? I'm guessing, yes, we do have a good amount of information on CRMs. We don't have reviews of every single one because there's so many of them, but we definitely have good information on some of them and also just tips on how to pick a good CRM and the things you need to think about, stuff like that. Tina said, great tips and apps. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mark just asked, am I familiar with the Google Pixel smartphone and would I recommend it? I haven't personally used it. I tried to, but it's Verizon only. I've played with it. Alex and our team has it and loves it. And it has some of the best reviews of any phone on the market. So Google Pixel is Google's new phone made by Google. It's getting amazing reviews, the best camera ever in a device and really good battery life, stuff like that. Alex, who's on our team, loves it. I mean, he has it and loves his device. Jackie asked, do you have webinars in Google Drive and Google Email? I did an entire webinar, and you'd only be able to access it if you're a member because it's in the replay section. It's an older one. But I did a webinar 2-3 months ago on how to run your entire business on Google. And I really break down all the Google tools and how to use them and everything else. Plus, we have tons of videos on little pieces of the Google system on how to use it. So the answer is absolutely. You just would probably have to be a member if you really want access to everything. But like I mentioned, you could just do the promo code, $1.99 for your first month. And if you like it, you can stay on board. Who else? Tina asked about Canva. And by the way, Steve just endorsed the Google Pixel. He loves it, okay? Canva is honestly my favorite tool. I use it every single day to design everything. Every image on the RTI website I've designed in Canva. My social media posts I design in Canva. My flyers for all my classes I design in Canva. Canva is probably my favorite tool there is. I just personally typically use it on a computer so I can design with it better than an app on a mobile device. But Canva is honestly my favorite tool. I use it nonstop. Okay, let me see if I missed anything. I'll try to get all of them. Yep, I think I got them. So any other questions, guys? I'll kind of leave it open for another minute or two to see if any more questions come in. But I do see that a few of you guys, actually almost everyone's still here, which is fantastic. If anybody has more questions, absolutely feel free to, post them here in the chat room. I'll also post in here. There's my email address if you have any questions. And I'll be sending every single person that registered for this webinar an email later this evening once this video is posted to the website so you can check it out on replay and everything else. Susan just asked, do you have a list of the apps you could share? In a list format, actually I have my note packets. I could, if you want, I can attach that to the email this evening and just kind of give you the note packet that I do when I teach this in the classroom. But basically I'm going to share all the slides with you and the video to this as well. Okay. Mark asked about lead gen apps. I mean, I don't know of any straight up lead gen apps. I mean, that's kind of, there's a lot of lead generation systems, but just straight up lead gen app, other than something like Curbed, where it's kind of like Uber, where you could say, I'm a realtor in the area, I'll show the property to you. I don't know of too many just kind of lead gen apps, okay? Ben said that he turned his Pixel back in. Callers could not hear me after about 5 or 6 minutes, read reviews. So we had one person who loved it, one person who's saying not as much, okay? But he's saying it's mostly because of the phone and the audio part he was having troubles with. Sharon said attaching the note packet would be great. Not a problem, I'll be happy to do that. And then Ben just put another thing in saying Pixel has some great features, but just not reliable as a phone. So that hopefully that might answer your question on the Pixel. But like I said, I've talked to a lot of people who use it who don't have the same problems. Any phone is going to have some people with issues, but Ben's saying that he has had some issues with his and had to turn it back in. Okay. All right. So a dialer. Shelly just asked, do you know of a dialer that is not expensive? That's honestly something I've never really looked for, to be honest. So sorry. Usually it's hard to stump me, but I think you might have done it, Shelly. Any other questions, guys? Okay, well, Shelly just threw, I guess you answered your own question. She threw in a rapid dialer. She asked about business cards where you can upload logos. There's CamCard, there's CardMunch. Actually, CardMunch is now gone, my bad. CamCard are probably the best one for business card scanning because it does tie into a lot of stuff. All right, guys. Well, again, if anybody has any more questions, I'll try to monitor for another minute or two. If not, I want to thank you guys so much for your time. And if you have a chance, please check out RETI. Hopefully you'll like the site. Like I mentioned, it has a lot of great resources and very easy to use to learn anything you want. And you can always take that free test drive. And that offer, the promo code that I gave you, the RETI web, it's only going to be good for about a week or so. So if you really want to get it, make sure you sign up, okay? Julie, you're welcome, guys. All right, so I'm going to shut down. I'll leave the chat room running, but if any, I'm going to kind of cut the video feed. So if anybody has questions, just please feel free to ask. And make sure you guys check out next week. We're having another webinar. We have them every week. But the one we're doing next week is Start the Year Right with Goal Setting with Amy Smythe-Harris. She's great at it. And the week after that, Juanita is doing a webinar on 7 low-cost marketing ideas for real estate in 2017. And the week after that, Alex is doing a webinar on all your social media questions answered. So come to him with any social media question. He's going to answer them on the spot, kind of really helping demystify everything. Jeffrey just asked, can we rewatch the webinar again somewhere? Absolutely. I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to shoot an email to everyone when I get it posted to the website. But reti.us/webinars, it'll be the first one under the replay section once I post it. Okay, so that's definitely an option. And you guys have a week to watch it if you're not a member of RETI, or if you are a member of RETI, you can watch it anytime you want forever. Okay, all right, thank you guys so much. Again, I'll check the chat room just if any more questions come in, but I'm going to shut down the video feed, and I want to thank everybody for signing up and coming. I hope you guys have a great day and check out the site and check out more of our webinars.